How's it going, everyone? It's T.I.G here, T.I.G, everybody's favourite tag team champion. Well, I hope by the time this goes up, I'm still tag team champion. But yeah, I'm looking to do something different the last while now. I've been mentioning about doing a podcast or a review type thing in a bit of a different form than the usual tech space once we get on the site for Fight Night and our PTVs. So I decided that I'd try and do something in the vein of the podcasts that TGO has been hosting for the YouTube channel, except it'll be much shorter. Well, hopefully, if I shut up. We're planning on it being much shorter, maybe, 15 minutes, just quick little overview of what happened on Fight Night, NOLA, and what I thought. And yeah, just see how this goes down. It will have a name because I'm not uncreative like TGO. So I think I will probably name it the Irish Gaijin. We're still trying to work out how to pronounce it in the chat. Yeah, the Irish Gaijin's review. So this show, by the way, I tried to do this on Zoom. So you could see what I was looking at while I was reviewing it, but unfortunately that didn't work. So yeah, we're just gonna have to go by my descriptions, and you're gonna have to trust me. So obviously now it was a massive show, really big show. I was really looking forward to it. I always look forward to these shows that I can't call the winners in a few of the matches, and there was a good few matches on that card that I wasn't sure who was going to win. That's always what gets me most excited for the shows. Also, as well, it was kind of nice to return to a bit of a bigger show after the last two offerings. Nothing against Lost Treasures or Insurrection, they were both great shows. And it was actually nice to see the roster splitting a bit of a focus on certain areas and guys that don't usually get them. But yeah, no, I was happy to see this return. Felt like it was going to be a big show, felt like it was going to be a big crowd. And yeah, I think it was definitely big anyway. It was definitely big. So just get right into it. Yeah, so the cold opening. We start with the cold opening. I know that had been kind of discussed a bit backstage. If you want to call it that, backstage Discord between different parties involved. I know the original plan was the Gangsters versus Golden Rock to open. I think someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, we actually went with this cold open instead. I liked it. Obviously, I was involved in riding it, but yeah, I like cold openings on shows. Obviously, you can't do them all the time, but I think when they are used occasionally, they can be effective, and it's a pretty cool way to open up the show. Um, Kind of set the tone for the crowd, Well, obviously they're gonna kind of be down the gangsters, but they build Danny out of the building as well. I really love that sort of buzz when it's a hometown show and alignments can kind of be flipped and stuff. And so yeah, I think oh, I'm not going to talk too much of my own stuff, but I had a bit of fun with this, and kind of being able to be heelish without really any long term ramifications as such. And yeah, obviously, you set the tone for the show, but I don't want people to sleep on Alistair and Crash's input here. And I initially putting this together only knew the opening part of the segment contained a little bit of interaction with Crash and Alistair. So I got a nice surprise when Crash and Alistair started putting in their 2 cents at the end. I think it really nicely calls back to Black Caramel beating the Toners in New York in their hometown. Yeah, I don't know. Just I think it was a shot at the Toners and maybe some foreshadowing for beating Golden Rock in New Orleans tonight. But yeah, I like cold openings. Especially in this sort of situation at work, setting up kind of tone for the show, and then obviously we get the rundown of the show that's coming out. We've Danny coming out and revealing what happened with him and Donny. Well, it was reported to be him and Donny, but he says here that it was him and Christian that were in the fight. So I'm not going to go too much on it. just brief apology, yeah, just throw it in there. That was myself that used a banned word. I didn't know it was banned, and it did make the first posting of the show. So apologies for anyone that caught that, and if I offended anybody with that, I am sorry. It has now been removed from the edit, but yeah, just apologies for that. Don't blame the mods on that. That was my fault. I slipped it in there. Yeah, so obviously we know what happened here. That he sets up. He's going to come out and meet Golden later tonight. But yeah, I think this is just kind of again a bit more fun with the crowd and see what type of mood they were in, but also obviously setting up the Donny unmasking is, I think, a pretty, without my own horn, I think the tag team's horn, pretty good way to start a show. I think it's been a question that hung over for a while, and then we get to start proper, and it's Garcia and Captain Fantasy. Now, this is a match I was looking forward to. Sorry, just gotta light this. I honestly couldn't pick a winner based on the two promos. I thought for what John did coming in with a new character was absolutely amazing. Really, really good. Uh, and it's something very hard to do with an introductory promo, but I thought Garcia's response was great as well. And one of the better things I think Garcia do recently. I think it's fine. Captain Fantasy beat him. I mean, it's a competitive match, 13, 14 minutes. Both got their fair share of spots in. And yeah, I think with those Superman punch sort of finishes, kind of make it not look too bad. It kind of came out of nowhere, and look, I wouldn't worry about looking bad in kayfabe. I said this in the group. It's a loss to Jean, and you just have to take it as that. I mean, maybe not purely just FWA, but across the two feds. I mean, he's one of the top 5, top 3 writers across the two feds and the WC here. I think Garcia's fine losing here. I think Sayer's fine losing here. Hopefully Garcia goes on now to the next match at BIB. Hopefully OMB recovers and we're able to get that match. If not, and I said this to Sayer, I think it could be beneficial to maybe look at another option for Garcia at BIB if there's a chance that OMB can't show. But that's obviously not my decision to make. But yeah, big victory for Captain Fantasy, and I'm just interested to see where he fits in now with Quiet and Uncle, and yeah, obviously, yeah. Look, it's John. I'm excited, so we'll see what happens. I'm gonna say something here now. Start the next segment. New breed. I don't know what it is. Well, I do know what it is. It's sorry, I'm just gonna light this. Sorry, a bit of trouble with that. I do know what it is. It's that Prodigy's obviously a brilliant writer. The new breed are this act that have this ability that they can go weeks without having a win, weeks without even being on the show, but then when they need you to care about them in a segment, they just pop out something like this, and it's a frequent. Sean Hughes in particular has always been a highlight, and someone I'd like to see delved into more if Prodigy ever does move away from par. Not that he should, but I think Hughes and Prototype are kind of underrated to an extent, and yeah, I'd like to see them back in the tag team division in a more prominent role post BIB. So yeah, just wanted to say that here. But yeah, this set the scene for the main event of the evening. Always good to see a bit of GG and MVH together. I like that some guys play on their tag team tournament connections without actually being Iron Cast tag team. I like that there's these loose affiliations, and it's nice to see that GG has MVH's back tonight. Again, like I'm just reading here, and obviously MVH's lines are great, but even Hughes' lines here, an emotional cripple and an actual one. I don't know. There's just something about the way Hughes talks that I always kind of notice it, and I think there's real potential there with Hughes. But like I said, I'm not trying to get Prodigy to back off on par. But yeah, look, this segment was fine. I'm not being fine in a condescending way. It served its purpose. It was right to be part of the show. And yeah, just moving on to the next part, which is one of my favourite parts of the show, if I'm being honest. Uh, you've got the Diamond Dogs. First of all, you're gonna mark it's a shake character. Any shake involved, it's good shit. Second of all, these are really, really fun. Uh, I'm sure people have gotten a bit used to them in man's RPs with Peacock as the Diamond Dogs, but I remember them back in CWA. I think they won a pretty big tournament back there, a tag tournament, and what I loved this draw with JJ and Quiet. I thought it made sense in the story. Kind of covered for Peacock's absence on the show. Um, I was surprised to see how it went, considering I don't think either team were paid, but that's fine. It advanced the story, and it was certainly fun. Uh, Quiet Spotlight was something that I really, really, really liked, and I mean, come on, it has to be somebody, right? There's not only one masked mystery in the FWA, and I'm pretty sure Quiet's leading to something else down the line, and hopefully this is the beginning of it. But yeah, that's something I think we should keep an eye on and maybe pay a bit more attention to. Is Quiet sightings on screen and in promos, and try and put the pieces together, because I think there's something bubbling under the surface there. Yeah, this was fun. It was wacky. It felt energetic. It felt like a good seg into the next part of the show. By the way, just a quick note: the match lasting 14 seconds or something. That's totally cool. Um, and what I will say is trying to do things differently in matches. It does kind of help with the reading of the matches. I know some people like to skim read or check out their character stuff, but having variety in the matches rather than beginning, middle, end, kind of straightforward, does help the flow of the show and helps you invested. The Moore segment was like the most interesting thing I've seen Moore do. I think the Moore character is really strong. I noticed that he had signed up for the trios, cheap plug, Warehouse Carnival, with this guy here that is after debuting on screen. Kind of left more answers to questions, but that's always the way with introductories, I suppose. But yeah, it was nice to see Sega into the next match with Sussex, Shocks. I think it's Shocks. Louis, great to see Shocks get the win. I know that wasn't his first win. I think he said it was his third win, but it's his first win in months, and it was a big win. And I think, yeah, keep plugging away. The future's bright. I mean, Blaine had a good showing with the Crimson Knights and the tag gauntlet. The Shocks after winning here now. I think things are looking up. And yeah, I think keep plugging away. There's going to be X shots, gauntlet shots, the next couple of shows, I'd say. If not, as soon as the brand splits. But yeah, Donovan Moore coming back here. This is more important, I think, for guys like Shocks and Donovan Moore than worrying about title matches and shit. Like getting that feud nailed down there, getting something in that people think of when they think of Shocks. Like, oh yeah, remember the Donovan Moore feud, and remember Moore turned on Shocks and turned on Lewis, and this is a good start. Wondering now what's gonna happen with Moore, because I presumed it was gonna be a tag team, but this looks like it could be a manager type situation with a new character maybe introduced. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it anyway. Um, it was Easy Rose saying, breath of fresh air on the show. Been quite heavy handed so far. So I like about characters like Lizzie. They give this different sort of feel to the show and kind of remind us that we're in a universe where there are different characters and there's different motives and there's different things happening. and of course it's just fun. AOM as a character on point, and yeah, I'm out of nowhere over the last few months now looking forward to seeing what Lizzie does at BIB. So good work there again. Next part now was not there was nothing wrong with the next part. It's the handicap match against Gabrielle, and likewise you have to know that there's a difference between kayfabe and real life. Kayfabe, this is a 2-on-1 match between former tag champions and the not former, current legend, sure for a Hall of Famer, but still 2-on-1, and it's hard to make the Undisputed Alliance look strong in this situation when they take a loss. But really, it is just ETE versus Jimmy, and ETE is one of the best in the Fed. So, I mean, I think Jimmy knows the score here and professional enough to be okay with it, and I think it kind of does serve the purpose of broken Gabrielle just kind of manifesting somehow into this unbeatable, broken down machine that she's turned into since we kind of had her episode. But yeah, I think Jimmy's been focusing a bit more on Marcus lately, which I don't think is a bad move. But I think, yeah, the Undisputed Alliance losing here, the Afflicted Alliance kind of coming to an end last week, Garcia losing earlier tonight. I think we need something kind of big now on the next show, which I think is the Steel City show, which would make perfect sense, obviously. But yeah, that'd be something to look forward to. But yeah, great to see Gabby trucking like this. And as I've said a few times, it's the most I've enjoyed Gabby in a few years. And I'm interested to see where it goes now. Back in business again. I don't know. I really don't know what Gab's going to be doing at back in business, which is crazy, I think, really. But I suppose that's how big back in business is looking. That's how stacked it is that we're a few weeks out and we can't say with any certainty what Gab's match is going to be. So yeah, that's something to look at too. Yeah, nice to see Jimmy just get the big win here and bounce back after the defeat with the Undisputed Alliance. Big Mac's a fun character, and I was really happy to see Regan Cole come out and challenge him. A bit of history there. Uh, Match for about guys back in business. It's a one-on-one. It's not a multi-man match. I think you always have the chance to make a bit of a name for yourself and make that moment a little bit more important in a one-on-one version. Yeah, Mask was next, and Lizzie Rose. And as much as I've talked up that I like Lizzie Rose's character, this is something I really, really would have liked to see Maskell take. Kayfabe. Uh, Maskell's obviously brilliant. His character's great. Promo last week was insane. Jade's a brilliant guy, great worker, world champion type spec. That's not an exaggeration. And yeah, I'm not saying AON didn't deserve it. Lizzie Rose doesn't deserve this, but yeah, Maskell needs something to really sink his teeth into soon, and hopefully that's addressed coming up. Because at this stage, I've only come to realise for the first time that we're going into the start of the third hour, and we still have a 60-minute Iron Man show left to go, which really kind of shows just how big this show was, and what a bigger way to kick off. Well, is there a bigger way to kick off the start of the third hour than the return of Chris Kennedy? I don't know. I mean, we got his return at the anniversary show, but I mean, we all knew what was going on there. But this time, Iggy active in the Discord, posting the open promo. We know this is legit. I stood up out of my seat reading this show for the first time last night. I was reading it on my phone. I was like, what? Okay, right. I thought it was definitely red herring stuff with the Japan post. So this is obviously big and back in business isn't back in business without CK. Realistically, in Crash would be focused on tag stuff. But again, you come back to kayfabe, real life, and it's Jiggy at BIB. outside of maybe MVH, Par, Sully, who are already tied up, does anybody else on the roster deserve or have as good a chance of winning as Smooth does with Crash? Probably not. And yeah, I'm just interested to see how this one goes out. Like Jiggy's one of these guys that never seems to miss a step when he leaves and comes back. But man, Crash has been motoring hard now for a year. He's just been getting better and better and better. And he was already great to begin with. So this is probably the biggest CK streak match they could have booked. It was leaving me wondering what Alistair's gonna do, but I have it on good authority that he's got something planned, so I won't worry too much about that. But yeah, as for the actual acceptance, I liked it. It was simple. I don't think you need much more than Crash Kennedy to sell this. So yeah, but this is obviously going to need another segment or two in the coming weeks. Be interested to see how that goes. But yeah, look, CK back and CK v Crash. Yeah, take me money. Yeah, Cleo. Cleo's been someone that's been growing on me, and I loved this finish. I've loved her presentation recently. Uh, I'd even go out and say that I think Sully seems to be more invested in Cleo at the moment than Saint Sully. Um, Seeing her go on to get this win, I know it was against a debut. She has looked strong recently. She's had her growth with Lizzie Rose. I think it's a good match at back in business. And again, I always think a singles match is better than a multi-man match for people in this sort of position. But I'm really starting to worry about the size of the card now at this stage, with so many people still not booked and so many singles matches coming out from, and I mean disrespectfully, lower down the card than some of the guys that aren't booked. So I'm kind of wondering what's going to happen there. And of course, the next bit was, for me, for my own personal investment, the most important thing of the night. Obviously, it's the main for most people, but being in the position I am as the World Tag Champ, uh, yeah, I had a vested interest in this. And it was one of those ones that I definitely didn't know who the winner was going to be. Just couldn't really separate the promos. I think it was a great display for tag team wrestling. I think promos, the match right up, how this was presented, the whole atmosphere, the commentary, and of course the finish and the line after it. I mean, this kind of thing that's been delving on the tag team division for the last couple of weeks, couple of months has been wild. You know, Golden Rock had their moments, uh, had a great run, but recently it's jeez, they've been having like fucking everything's been going wrong for them recently, and this was like the culmination of it, losing to the Gangsters in New Orleans because Golden had just finally snapped. He was fed up with this shit, and then obviously what happened next was crazy, and I think a few of us talked about it. And when you go through everything Golden has done in his career, his face rolls, his heel rolls, it's incredible. Like the versatility shown by the character to go from fan favorite, maybe over the hill legend on a retirement run, to this carving letters into the chest of Alistair Black. And there's no two ways about it now. It's been made FWA v CWA where those two teams are concerned. Um, I think it was kind of fitting then, just as we've established that for Golden Rock and the Gangsters, that this is FWA versus CWA, that Danny comes back out and brings it back to the problem that's right in front of Golden Rock, and that's within the FWA, and it's the Turner brothers and the FWA champions. And of course, it was great to see that the words on the screen again for Executive Excellence's theme music. Have Christian come out there with the title and have Shake be revealed as my partner after working with him for so long doing this. Um, I'm not going to talk too much on it there now because it's all coming promo material, so I've been fairly coy about everything that's happened here. But yeah, a big segment, a lot happening, and again, as I said, I think the whole theme of this show is there's going to be things people like and don't like content wise, but it's a big show. There's lots of stuff happening for better or worse, and that just continues here with this tag team segment and so much happening between Golden Rock beating Gangsters, Devin snapping, and Quinn coming out as Donnie. Uh, yeah, quite a lot jam packed into it. But next we have a bit of a buffer segment, but it's an important one in the story of the unit, which has been low key one of the best planned and plotted stories over the last few months of programming. And I think I announce these segments every time. But again, I just go back to I actually don't know where this is going. I'm not sure what the end game is here. It's going to be universes, someone, but who? I don't know. And again, if there's a chance that OMB can't make BIB, it could be worth looking at maybe Unit and Garcia. I think that's something that could be good for both. Uh, like, at this point, I'm kind of realising like how crazy big this show is. Uh, Eli Black has his promo and a good promo. To be honest, when I read this the first time, I kind of phased over. But now that I'm reading it again, it was just because there was so much happening, and I was still trying to take in everything that had happened. But yeah, this is a good promo, and Black's been great. I think he could easily go to 5 with the Gauntlet Championship. Getting the first one out of the way is the toughest one. Uh, but yeah, I mean, if this eventually, if we could squeeze 5 Eli Black matches in, that'd be a nice BIB match for Cyrus. Who was notable by his absence on this show, but look, it's big enough that we could do without Cyrus and Concho, I suppose. But yeah, I'd like to see Eli do 5 and challenge Cyrus again. I really would. And then of course, we get the absolute end point. What we've been building here for the whole show. This absolutely unbelievable, insane matchup that I'm going to presume Super Saiyan Road between MVH and Power. If you'd have told me we were going to have a 60-minute match that had its one and only fall in the 56th minute, I just said you won't keep my attention. But this is beautiful. This is really, really good. And I think for justice to be done, to justice to be served, you should really just take the 10-15 it takes to rate this match and appreciate what's happening. It's fucking crazy. Surprised by the result? No, I'm not. I'm not surprised by the result. Really. I think I always had a feeling Power would get here. I'm not sure what it means for the main event. I think Sully has been missing a little bit too much involvement wise, but I think it's going to be ramped up over the next few weeks. What it means for the outcome of the main event's interesting. I think on the surface, it's just making Sully's job harder. Thought he already had a tall task against SS. Not one that he was capable of doing, definitely not. But I think this has made it considerably harder for Sully to retain the title, and I'd probably like to see that come into play a bit over the next few shows. Maybe Sully outraised and trying to get the upper hand coming into the event. I don't know if that's tax or how exactly you do that, but yeah, look, as I said, I kind of feel like it's been inevitable that this will be the main event all year. Maybe in my head at some sort of variation that somehow included Crash, but really, yeah, this is the. It feels nearly inevitable, and it's a massive main event on what's looking like it's going to be a massive card. There's a lot to unpack in this show. It's just a lot happening. Um, I'm sure there's a couple of mistakes in there. I mean, it's going to happen to show this size, but really, really just felt like a big show. Felt like it kind of felt like the show on the road to back in business. Now, whether that's going to be topped at the Steel City show or the Go Home show, who knows? But it feels like we're hotting up at exactly the right time, and with all these returns and coming back, yeah, it's an exciting time, and I'm looking forward to the brand whenever the brand draft, the extension, whatever you want to call it, when that takes place, and hopefully, hopefully we can keep this up. But yeah, fucking good show, and oh no, this is 30 minutes, not 15, lads. Sorry, I'll leave it at that. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Peace.